Hello everyone, my name is Shonda and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. So I'm going to talk a little bit about color. So for those of you who are participating in my beginner quilter series, if you guys want to sew the Arrowhead quilt along with me, I'm going to put the pattern link in the description. It is a free pattern. I am doing the cutting a little differently than what is in the pattern, so keep that in mind. I will be releasing the cutting video on Thursday. So I wanted to talk a little bit about color. This is specifically with a 3-color quilt, and these are my opinions. If you want a more robust opinion, I don't know if it's Robertson or Robertson. She's written many books about 3-yard quilts, and she has many videos about how they choose color. I did not watch any of those videos. Okay, so these are my opinions based upon what I know about quilting. So first thing, since we're only using 3 fabrics, you have to have contrast amongst all of the fabrics. So for example, I have a line here from Art Gallery. Like I couldn't put, so say I had this fabric here, and then I had this pink fabric that I wanted to put with it. I couldn't also then put this fabric because these 2 reds don't have enough contrast. So these 2 don't have contrast. It's not enough. So whereas the pink works well with this, and the pink works well with this, these 2 don't work well together. So if I was to do something, maybe I could take this floral and mix it with this green and then potentially add this pink if I like that combination. But I don't like this combination because I want all 3 colors to coordinate. And so although these 2 go pretty well together, I don't personally like this pink with this green. One of the things that you can do, one of the things that I like to do, is I like to choose a print, and then I like to pull my colors from that print. So if we look at this here, you can see that this has some kind of like fuchsia in it. It's got mustard colors. It's got some blue in it. So I could potentially then say, okay, I like the blue, so I want to put that blue with it. And then I want to put something else. Let's see if I can find something else. Maybe I could do something like this. So all 3 colors contrast, and all 3 colors kind of match together. So one of the options that I was looking at for the quilt that I'm putting together was, let's see here. I was looking at these marble prints that I have. So I have a light color, I have a darker color, and then I have like a red color. But for me, these 2 colors had enough contrast, but for me, because these are all the same print but different colors, I felt like it wasn't enough. I felt like it would be too homogeneous, right? I felt like it was going to be too much the same. Now it might work, it probably would work, but I was looking for a little bit more definition between my fabrics. But if you did not want that, then this would be a great option to choose 3 of the same print but in different colors. So that would be something that you can do. One of the options that I was considering, I had this little bundle of fabrics here that I got from Joann. So I have this here, and then I had this pink, and then I had this white kind of blender, and then I had this black, white, and pink here. So I thought about using some combination of these. So I thought about using this one and then using the 2 blenders, but I didn't like that dynamic. I just personally did not like that. Would this match well? Sure, but I wanted more of a print. I didn't want to use basically two blenders in one print. That's just me. That's my personal preference. But these three could have certainly gone together very well, as could have these three. But I personally wanted two prints that didn't compete with two. I wanted a little bit more. I wanted a little bit more print. And that's just for me. That's what I personally wanted. So I ended up not going with those. And so I looked at some other stuff that I have in my stash. And, you know, most of my stash is smaller cuts, right? So, but I wanted to pull from my stash for this quilt. So I did not want to use, I did not want to go out to buy fabric, right? I did not want to do that. So I wanted to use the 1 yards from my stash. And one of the pretty ones that I have is this one here. So I was like, oh, okay, what if I use this, and then maybe if I can find a navy, I could use some kind of something navy, or I could use something pink and pull that out, or even something turquoise to kind of pull out the color. So that's one of my suggestions. That's one of the things that I do, is that I will choose a print, like I said before, choose a print and then pull colors out. But I didn't have adequate fabric in my stash, or at least in 1 yard or more, that I liked or that I felt good about. So I had some other fabrics that I had got from Joanne, excuse me, there's no S. So I had these two fabrics that I had purchased to kind of go together, and these are both 1 yard each, and I thought these went together really nicely. So I was like, okay, well, these go together great, but I need something else. And so I wanted something that had enough contrast between these two fabrics, but then also wasn't just a blender and wasn't too printy. So I ended up going with this fabric here. And this is my fabric pull for this, because I felt like this does a good job of helping to pull out the yellow that's in here, that's in the center of these flowers, these kind of peachy tones. So I liked this. It's a blender, sort of, but it's very homogeneous. You know, it's very, very limited in color palette, very limited in scale. It's just like an all over print. And so I thought these two looked nice together. And then I thought it would look well with this as well. So those are what I chose to use. One of the reasons why I gravitate toward pre-cuts is because a lot of times these choices are made for you. Or even if you're not using a pre-cut, if you're using a specific line. So these three fabrics, none of these came from the same line. None of them. So this is just something that I put together. But if you did go to your local quilt shop, sometimes you can find fabrics that are in the same line, and you can choose three fabrics that you like, and they're more likely to coordinate really well with each other and go really well together. So that might be an option as well. But if you're not, and you're going to Walmart, or if you're going to Joanne, a lot of times, well, sometimes at Walmart you can find the same fabric line, and they might be together on the shelves. But when I go to Joanne, I find that everything is just kind of mixed in, and so you just have to find something. And so again, that would be my advice would be to choose a print and then pull colors out of that print. So for this one here, you know, there's a lot of colors in here. So I might pull out that mustard color and then maybe that blue color. So let's see. So this matches that blue really nicely. Kind of helps pull out that blue that's in the centers there. Here, this like little blue color here, and there's a little bit larger bit of it here. So that might be two that I could put together, and then maybe find a third, or even if you can find a print that's not too busy. So these prints here that I'm looking at, they're all art gallery, and I think they're from 2 or 3 different lines. But this was another, this could be an option. Like these two go together pretty well with this. So that's a possibility as well. So just, you know, part of making a quilt is that you don't ever know quite how your colors are going to come together. The only way you know exactly what your quilt is going to look like is if you use a kit, right? Or if you copy someone else's pattern and use the exact same fabrics that they used. I did that before. One of the quilts that I did by Missouri Star, I used the exact same fabric that Jenny used for her pattern. So when I put my quilt together, I kind of knew exactly how it was going to look. Now, of course, my blocks might have been in different positions. How I chose to lay them out was different, but I knew what my overall quilt was going to look like because I'm using the same pattern and the same fabric line, and you can get a really good idea of how things are going to look. But beyond that, you just kind of got to cross your fingers and hope that everything comes out okay. So again, my tips would be use an existing line of fabric, and choose 3 prints or three fabrics from that line. I would not recommend using 3 strong prints because it's going to be a lot. Unless you like that look. I'm a bit more of a scaled down type of person. I don't really like a lot of loud. So for me, like if I was to put like these two together would be really nice, but then I would need something less printy to offset it so that it wouldn't be too busy. I wouldn't be able to then pull in this because for me that would be too loud. Now these all coordinate. But for me, on a 3-yard quilt, these 3 prints would be too loud. But that's for me. So you've got to figure out what your style is. So again, so you can choose a line and choose 3 different fabrics from that line. Or you can choose a print that you really like. You can go into Joann, you can go into Walmart or whatever, and choose a print that you really like. And then choose 2 coordinates that will go well with it. Now you could just use all blenders. You don't have to use a print at all. I personally want a print, but you don't have to use a print. You could use 3 blenders that coordinate well and put them together. If you're using batiks, a lot of batiks aren't very printy. So if you're using batiks, they're just kind of color washes, right? So you could just take 3 batiks that coordinate. But the main thing is that you have to have contrast between all of your fabrics. So for here, these 2 colors have contrast, these 2 have contrast, and these 2 have contrast. That's the most important thing, is that you have to have contrast between all of your fabrics. The rest of it is really personal preference. But you do need to have some contrast between all of your fabrics. So if you want a more educated opinion other than, you know, what I've just picked up from, you know, general quilting, then again, I would direct you to the 3-Yard Quilts YouTube channel. They have an extensive array of content on YouTube, and there are quite a few videos on how to choose fabric. So those would be my tips. Hopefully some of you guys are going to sew along with me. That would be great. And again, I will have these cutting instructions uploaded, a video with all the cutting. I'll actually tell you exactly what I'm cutting and how I'm cutting it, and I will demo the cutting so that you guys can cut along with me. I will take it slow. You want to make sure that you have 1 yard of usable fabric. So keep that in mind. If you're planning to pre-wash, you might want to get a little bit more than 1 yard potentially. I'm not doing any pre-washing. So that's just my personal preference. I don't pre-wash. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna put this video on my Facebook page as well. And if you guys want to show me your color selections and get my opinions, that would be the place to do that. I'd be happy to look at your choices and give you my opinions. So that's it for me. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you next video.